All right, so new camera, DJI Osmo Pocket 4. If you're gonna check out a new camera, you're gonna test it out. Only one place to do it, the beach. So you see how this sounds. This little lavalier mic on. A little bit of a breeze. I mean, it's been stifling and oppressively humid, but it's nearly July in South Florida, so that's pretty much what you get. As you see, this thing has an amazing radius to just kind of follow you and follow the eye. It's trained almost like a robot with stability. And it's got the gimbal, so I'm just kind of extending it on a gimbal. And I'm curious to see how everything works out between the sound, the color contrast, just being able to pick up the entire background. It's one of the cooler areas on the beach. Now, if you're industrious enough, and also here's the other thing too, is just being able to zoom in a little bit as I get into the sand. And if you're industrious or you're just amped up and have the self encouragement, a little moxie to get out here on the beach at the Fit Trail, I've got a little bit of everything. Push ups, upward stretches, pull ups, all kinds of bars for everything. Bar jump, body raise. So you get your workout, you walk all the way down to the ocean, and you jump in. Of course, you get some of the greatest basketball courts ever. These buffoons who run Fort Lauderdale, they wanted to take these courts out. There was rounds and rounds of public protest. What they're trying to do now is kind of take the Fit Trail out, and this little area here, they want to knock down, literally remove all the beautiful sand and all this nature and make it pickleball courts. Pickleball courts, a bone of contention in Fort Lauderdale. They removed a beautiful park, nature preserve, Snyder Park, part of it, to build pickleball courts because they wanted to be close to the airport. So as we get down here towards the ocean, about 100 yards away, continue to walk and test out the camera. Mild wind, so I'll see how the sound is and how the lavalier holds up. I do have a windscreen. Interesting thing about Fort Lauderdale is there's not much surf. I mean, the ocean is so still right now that it kind of looks like a lake. I haven't seen waves in weeks. And unless there's a hurricane or a tropical storm, really, or just some abnormality in the way the water's kicking up here. In other words, you maybe get a sustained streak of waves here and there. But again, it's not normal. Not much surf. But that doesn't mean as you go up the coast that way, which is north, in Miami, see some tankers out there. Let's see how close we can get. Is that way to the south. All right. And we get all the way in. That tanker down there. So that's as much as you can zoom in on that in the distance. There you go. Oops. Yeah, it's been a big deal with all the seaweed this time of year. And they literally get bulldozers to come in the morning and move. So I'm gonna stick my toes in here, see what the ocean feels like. Now, I'm thinking we got bath-like warm. So, there we go. Yep, warm as a bath. We'll go in here. Water feels great. And it's just a right breeze. As you see right in the back of me here on the ocean. Nice out. And further you go inland, more west, towards where I live in Fort Lauderdale, of course, the problem is it gets to what I said it is before, just stifling, oppressive, humidity. You can see a little bit of a sunset starting to form. That is the DJI Hotel. And that is one of the legendary hotels here in Fort Lauderdale. They tried to one time take that down too, but it has stood the test of time. There you go. All these seats here, like little pieces of real estate for the hotels and their guests. People come year round, pay big bucks, especially in the winter, to enjoy these beaches that I'm blessed as a resident. I get to enjoy whenever I want. Less than 10 minutes from me. Go kind of come up here on the basketball courts. As I showed you the fitness trail before. I'll loop around and show you the marina across the street. I'm really curious to see the quality of this video. This is kind of a crossover, or the in-between, or, from using your cell phone to be able to make videos. Or using what else I have, and that's a professional camcorder. It's kind of that middle ground. Pretty cool. And again, this is the Pocket 4 from Osmo, DJI. I was able to pick like a combination kit that came with a couple of mics and some other stuff. I have not played ball in so long. Last time I played basketball, well, the next day I felt it. Several days I felt it, but it was so hot out that played some pickup. When I jumped in the water after, it was literally like I was a matchstick dropped in a cup of water. My body went. But these are great courts. I came here as 14-year-old, 15-year-old. 13 years old, 14 or 15, a couple times to Fort Lauderdale as a teenager on vacation from up north. Even knew back then how much I loved it here, but I remember playing as a teenager on the courts. I brought my ball with me on the plane, packed it, and played with grown men on that court. That was many, 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 many moons ago, as you can see here. It's got that quick draw to flip around. You can see how beautiful it is. Quartz. Right there. This camera's pretty neat. We might have got decent hands, but we got the shakes a little bit once in a while, but decently steady hand. When I say shakes, usually means I've shot for hours on end. Like a high school football game is a good example. Any football game, I've sat on the sidelines. Any sporting event, basketball, where you're holding the camera a long amount of time between putting on the tripod and you start shaking. And with these little handheld items, cell phone, this Osmo Pocket 4 camera, they're hard to really get the shakes because they're not heavy enough. But not everyone has a still hand. And regardless of the still hand you have, you will shake. And that's just the way it goes. So I'm going to try to cut over here and show you guys a little bit of the marina side, which is the intercoastal. You see the craziest cars in Fort Lauderdale. in Florida and South Florida. I mean, that dude right there is doing like a shoot in his car, I think. Fast and Furious ride, right? Full color. So that's what I think he's doing. Gotta watch the road, you gotta watch the viewfinder, and pay attention. Alright, so I'm gonna walk up here along the marina side, and I'll show you what they did in building out a bunch of restaurants, cafes, and stuff. And that, by the way, if you see those white buildings, they kind of have a waves to them, naturally, because that would kind of be a design that represents water, and that is the Swimming Hall of Fame there at the end, that white building. It's pretty neat in there. If you have fear of height, go up on the top diving board. Just walk to the edge. I remember going on high dive boards when I was a kid and jumping off regularly. This sucker was humongous. It's a really cool place to check out. If you're a swimmer or not, just the dedication to the sport, the facilities, dedications, I should say, like a museum. The facility is really cool. They're some of the best in the world for aquatics. And passing those kids, young men, they're all wearing the college gear, and you see it all the time with teams here competing year round at that Swimming Hall of Fame, the Aquatic Center. That again is the DJI Mar. We kind of built around it, and from the beach, you used to have this great view. You look across and you see into the intercoastal, which is right there, and you can see the sunsets, but they took that away, and they've just done tons of building here in Fort Lauderdale. It's nonstop. Most of it I'm not a fan of. Like I was at the beach telling you about how they wanted to take out basketball courts, now they want to add pickleball courts and take out sand and beautiful space, nature space. And over here, they built this restaurant row, and while they knocked out the view of the marina from the beach, I guess what I'm saying is local governments, municipalities, you can pick your spots. For the most part, they've done a terrible job because the infrastructure here cannot support or accommodate all the building. So it floods. There's just an overabundance of traffic. They built all these areas and never addressed the homeless problem. So a lot of these new parks up and down here, which is called the A1A. And this is basically the highway that goes up and down the beach, all the way up the Atlantic side of Florida. So. And they built all these parks in Fort Lauderdale here in the A1A, but the homeless have taken them over. So it kind of defeated the purpose. A lot of drugs, alcohol, not the nicest places to hang out, even though they're beautiful, pristine, newly constructed public spaces that are supposed to be designed as a safe space, more or less, but that's what they aren't. Now, years ago, I did stay at the Bahia Mar, and I was coming down to look for a place in Fort Lauderdale, and I had a great room. I was looking at the ocean, and I happened to go to the market. That was before anything was here. And you know what? If you're ever in Fort Lauderdale for a hotel deli, it's pretty good. I'll give it a little plug. It really is. It's pretty affordable. It's been years, but here, I'll show you right here. This is called Marina Village. So what they did here is, like I said, they built up a whole different. They built up a whole bunch of different restaurants, different cuisines, and I'll show you how beautiful the marina is. So here's the view they cut off, but come to the back end of the restaurant, or you go up top, and you can catch um, sunset up there, like, get a drink. So in other words, this is one thing they built that I think is good. Even though it knocked out that sunset view, but that's okay. You can see all these boats, most of them just kind of being housed here for the summer. In winter, that'll be empty this time. At night, people going out, sunset cruise. It's about, and I can show you what type of cuisines and restaurants they have. And as soon as you step here too, and you're just right across, you step across from the ocean. I was telling you about that beautiful breeze. Well, that goes away. So again, my name is Matt Levine. So I'm just walking around, basically, testing out this new camera. Thank you for being part of Red Dawn Media. Let me show you the restaurants here as we go to Marina Village to BAMR. If you like sushi, sushi song, cheese steaks. So much a cheesesteak is. 6-inch cheesesteak is $13. That'd be good. I won't tell you anything's a bargain down here because it's not. But fresh garden bowls, lobster rolls, lobster roll for a giant one, $40. The little guy is $23.95. Nice place to take a date. Go with friends from out of town, and grab like I said, the sunset cocktail. This is a Shirley. It's a cool little spot to get a drink, really is. Going down. What I missed? Burgers and Shakes is right there. I've never tried any of the food places. I mean, pizza. Pizza's pizza in Florida. Hit or miss. Gelato is always good in Florida. Tacos, for the most part, are pretty good. You see taco vibes right here. There's a Jungle Queen, which is really cool too. Famous for their steamboat tours around the Intercoastal. You see how pretty it is. And again, the beach is right across the street. That's where I'm going to go back. Of course, the World Cup going on here in South Florida. Last 2 weeks or so. Some great teams competing. Is it the Tartan Army? The Scottish were here. Lots of Brazilians that live down there anyway. Brazil was taking on Scotland yesterday at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, which is about 15 minutes, no traffic, from 25 minutes from here, 15 from my house. And just to walk out to a slip. Now I gotta pay attention so I don't slam dunk my new fancy schmancy camera here in the water. You get a little bit of a tilt. You see how beautiful it is here. Checking out all the boats. There on the slip dock. There's the back end of the Shirley, which I was telling you about. There's my shadow. I'll try not to get too scared. Yeah, it's a beautiful evening. But like I said a few minutes ago, you cross the street and it's like a 10 degree difference. The ocean breeze blocked. It's humid. A whole different ballgame. That makes sense, but best place to be is by the ocean in the summer. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, Fort Lauderdale is a beautiful place to come visit. Like I said, the winters are just terrific. You know, they're busy, and for me at least, it's the best weather on planet Earth. That's what I think. And I moved here because I just hate winter. By the way, I've got a new Red Dawn Media set of caps. This one was kind of in the MAGA, format, but the letters are a little too small. But I got a bunch of them. I'm getting ready here in Red Dawn Media to embark on a trip to Mount Rushmore. So I have all kinds of good content on it. And that was the reason I got this camera in part. You see, again, on the way out here at the DJI, and that's your choice of restaurants down here. Or your little choice of options, of things to do, and restaurants. But yeah, if you're here and you go to the beach, or looking for a little light, check out the Marina Village, DJI. It's really nice. I will say one thing for the most part. I mean, I told you there's a homeless problem. For the most part, it's very safe. And I don't agree with the local politicians here. I think they're awful. Like I said, they built a city without infrastructure. They're shady. Doge, by the way, is investigating Broward County and different facets of Broward County. Just a couple weeks ago, they're in Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of corruption. The local politicians. But my point is, the Fort Lauderdale police, they do a great job. Despite it all, they are excellent. They hold it down. And it's been safe at the beach. I've been here now 14 years. I've never seen anything outside. A couple of tussles. That was a couple of years ago. I went down to shoot some of the spring break, and you see some stupid fights and whatnot. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty safe down here. And if you come with a significant other or family, I would not promote that unless I thought that was pretty much the case. You see this guy right here, right? It's a parking enforcement, and that is exactly why I started moving back here, because one thing they do not do is play when it comes to parking tickets. It is a business, and it is run effectively and efficiently, and these guys are like white on rice. The moment that ticket is up, they will be hovering over your car and slapping down a fine. That's just the way it is. So I'll give you another pointer. If you come here, make sure you park. You pay for your parking, and go a little extra. Meaning, put in an extra couple hours, because you're visiting here. It's a different ballgame. You want to enjoy everything. You don't want to worry about parking. It's expensive anyway. But I'm a local. I just wanted to go out for a quick 20-minute walk. So I put 25 minutes now. So I put, 30 minutes in the meter. I think it was like $3. And I mean, the way to do it, and I did it before, but I've been too lazy, is to get the city pass. Unlimited parking at the beach. I keep saying I have to do it, and then a half year goes by, a year goes by. For what I pay, a few bucks here, a few bucks there to park, pass is so worth it. All right, but anyway, that's kind of it. So, go back to the car, wrap this sucker up. Let's see. Flip this guy around here. There we go. So we'll see how the Osmo 4 DJI Osmo Pocket 4 came with a couple of these mics, these lavalier mics. I'll see how it all handled, how it did. I'm curious to go load this on the Red Dawn Media channel and examine the quality, video and sound, and all that good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed. We'll walk here at the beach on Red Dawn Media. I'm Matt Levine saying adios.